I wanted to talk briefly about when you're solving a triangle, whether you should use the law of sines or the law of cosines. Well, it depends on what given information you have. I always try the law of sines first. If it doesn't work, I move on to the law of cosines. But I know some of you would like it more explicitly stated. So let me give you that information. If you are given an angle, a side, and an angle, that means an angle, two angles, and the side that is in between them, we call that the included side, that will be a congruence. That means anybody who's given that same information and they were to draw a triangle, a bunch of people were given that information, they were drawing a triangle that used the same measurements for these angles and the same measurement for the side, everybody's triangle would look the same. Similarly, if they're given a side and two angles, and this time the side is not in between the angles, that would be a congruence as well. In other words, everybody's triangle would look the same. And you could solve that triangle using the law of sines. Now we have this scenario, this side-side angle scenario, that is not a congruence. In other words, you could give two different people the same length of sides and an angle that is not in between them, and they could draw pictures that look different. So we say it's not a congruence, but we would still use the law of sines. And remember, this is not a congruence because this could potentially be the ambiguous case. But still you would use the law of sines to solve the triangle if you were given that information. Now if you're given three sides of a triangle, or you're given two sides and the angle included, or the angle in between those two sides, that will again be a congruence. In other words, anybody who is given that same information, and everybody were to draw a triangle using that information, the triangles would look the same. In this scenario, you would use the law of cosines. And just to be complete, I'm going to put down angle, angle, angle. There's no congruence here. And you can't solve a triangle. You would need at least one side to be able to solve the triangle. So I just thought I'd give you that summary, and now I hope you're practicing using the law of sines and cosines.